Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
Monday, and all of our guests today, including Doug Plagens, Florida Panthers, play-by-play, standing by, sponsored by Passant Motors. Ready to find your next vehicle? Visit Passant Motors today to experience the difference for yourself. The friendly team looks forward to helping you drive home in the perfect vehicle for your needs and budget. Stop by their dealership located at 16315 Fraser Highway in Surrey, or check them out online at Passant Motors, BASANTmotors.com. Game 6, Stanley Cup Final. It happens Tuesday in Sunrise. Panthers up 3-2 on the Oilers. We're joined now by the voice of the Florida Panthers on the Panthers Radio Network, Doug Plagens. Doug, thanks for doing this, sir. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks so much for having me, guys.
No problem. Doug, can you tell us where you're doing this interview from, if you don't mind?
Right now, I am coming to you live from, well, it's still new as of about the last year and a half or so. The Panthers' state-of-the-art practice facility here in Fort Lauderdale, the Baptist Health Iceplex at the FTL War Memorial, and it's just one of the elements here in South Florida that has been a project of the Viola family ownership, and something that's just been a part of, building this team's presence throughout the community and the continued evolution of the Florida Panthers we've seen over the course of, like I said, their ownership. It's a beautiful state-of-the-art practice facility with a couple of rinks in it. There's pickleball here. There's a concert venue next door. There's a store downstairs that sells just about any Panthers piece of merchandise you could possibly want. There's I don't know if I mentioned a restaurant in here, full-service restaurant. They've got everything here.
Doug, the reason I'm bringing this up is because the Canucks, and Calgary is building theirs. The Canucks will soon be the only team in the National Hockey League without a practice facility.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about the game in a second here, but you touched on it there. How much do you think it has to do, and it's hard to measure, has to do with the success of the Panthers recently, certainly when it comes to keeping and attracting players?
Well, for one, I can tell you just from observing, everybody loves it here. Players, coaches, staff, media, fans, when practices are open, things like that. Everybody loves coming down here. And it is a practice facility, but it's more than just a practice facility. It's something that the entire community has been able to rally around. And obviously they use it for youth hockey and everything like that, youth sports. And it's also part of a bigger project right here in Fort Lauderdale. There was a venue here, the War Memorial Auditorium, and that's been renovated and revitalized, and the rinks have been added on, and it's in a great part of town. And a lot of players, I know folks have heard it time and time again, there are a lot of players who drive golf carts to practice because of where it's located and things like that. So it's without a doubt been something that the players have loved. Like I said, the staff have loved it. They have everything they need here to make sure they're as prepared as possible when game day comes around, but it's also been something that the entire community has been able to rally around as well and use and get a lot out of. And like I said, the Panthers probably started practicing here would have been about right around Christmas time last season in the 23-24 season. And since then, it's as things have been finished up, now you have visiting teams when they come in on the road skate here and things like that. So it's full service. Anything you could possibly want is right here in this facility.
Okay, that's enough pain for Vancouver hockey fans. Doug, let's talk about what's happening in this series. How do you explain, I know he hasn't been there that long, what 37-year-old Brad Marchand is up to this spring?
Well, he's been, if we take it all the way back to before he even made his debut with the team, I spoke to Paul Maurice, as I do every game day, the day after the trade deadline. The Panthers had a home game, and he was injured when he was acquired, so he didn't debut right away. But I remember asking Paul Maurice the day after he was acquired about getting Brad Marchand. He talked about the excitement of the move, and also talked about the fact that Brad Marchand already had a little bit of Florida Panther in him, the way that he plays the game. And coming from a team in Boston that had been one of the Panthers' main rivals the last couple of years, they had those two just epic and at times angry playoff series against each other the last couple of runs. For Brad Marchand to then come over to this side of things, he's made an impact and fit like a glove. From the time he got here, he's been great in the room, and you knew that he would be. He's brought great experience. He's a winner. center. He's a competitor. You get a chance to see him every single day, and it opens your eyes to different parts of his game that maybe you didn't have the same appreciation for when you see him play here and there throughout the season. But I know Paul Maurice has talked about you knew how skilled Brad was, but when you see him play every day, the hands on Brad Marchand, his ability to make plays in tight, as we've seen on breakaways these last few games, he's a special player, and he also just brings a certain presence to the game. And again, it's been an absolute game breaker for the Panthers here, especially in this Cup final to this point.
Hey, Doug, a couple of stats really interesting. Florida has outscored Edmonton 11-4 in the first period. I mean, their starts are way better. They're up 2-0, 3-0, and the Oilers, I can't explain why the first period has been so bad for them, but why is the first period so strong for Florida?
Well, I think, like you said, a lot of the credit goes to the Panthers for the way that they've been prepared and ready to start games. And I think it's been different stories, I guess, in each game. The Panthers obviously opened this. They've scored at least 2 goals in each of the first periods in the series to this point. There have been instances where the Oilers maybe got into penalty trouble early. That's happened at times. But I think the main thing you have to look to is just the fact that the Panthers have come out prepared and ready to play. And that's where this Panthers team is particularly dangerous. And I know Edmonton showed why they're dangerous too, because they've done something in this series that a lot of other teams have not been able to do, and that's stage a bit of a comeback against the Panthers. But if you're looking at it from the Panthers side of things, when they get the lead, they can make things very difficult on an opponent, and they can wear down an opponent. We've seen that not just on this playoff run, but the last couple of years. Getting the first goal is big for both of these teams, but the Panthers, when they get the first goal, it especially comes in handy. I think there have been different stories, though, to each game. Like I said, the Panthers have come out with some good jump, but there have been also instances. Look at the last game. Look at Game 5. First shift, Connor Brown probably had one of Edmonton's best scoring chances in the hockey game, so credit goes to Sergei Bobrovsky for making a big save there and keeping Edmonton from getting the first goal. Obviously, looking at the atmosphere at Rogers Place the other night, had they scored that early in the hockey game, it could have changed the complexion of things, and Sergei Bobrovsky was ready for that. So I think, like I said, you can hand out the credit a lot of different directions, but plain and simple, the Panthers have been focused and ready to go in the first period each night.
You know who's prepared every game is Sam Bennett. Boy, oh boy, how in the world are the Panthers going to be able to keep this guy? Because if he hits July 1st, boy, oh boy, he's going to get the money, the term. He's going to have a ton of teams after him. What's your gut saying about Sam Bennett's future?
Well, you know, I'm not privy to those behind the scenes conversations that may or may not be happening. So I really can't bring you, too close to that. But what I can tell you here, Sam Bennett in these playoffs, we've talked about it a lot, and he's carried that playoff Sam moniker since going back to his time with the Calgary Flames. He just knows how to bring it this time of the year. But plain and simple, and Paul Maurice has talked about this too, his game just, he plays the same game all season long and through the playoffs. So in the playoffs, when things tighten up, when there's less space out there to operate, when things get a little bit heavier, Sam Bennett doesn't have to change his game. He's already prepared for that. He's been doing it all year, and he's ready to go. And that's why he's already adapted to it, and he's having a postseason for the ages here. I mean, it's been historic what he's been able to do so far, especially the numbers on the road and the goal-scoring production he's been able to do away from home. But, as far as Sam goes, he's been beloved here ever since he arrived, and he's just another one of these guys. And I think so much credit goes to Bill Zito and the hockey operations staff, because the Panthers have a lot of guys that were in other places that, for one reason or another, a change of scenery helped, whether it was somebody like Sam Bennett, who came in here immediately from the time he was a Florida Panther. He was slotted in as the second-line center, and his game just took off. Or you look at maybe a guy like Carter Verhaeghe going years back. He was playing in Tampa. Due to a numbers game, just wasn't getting the minutes that he probably could have had somewhere else. He comes to the Panthers. He gets those elevated minutes, that elevated role, and look where his game has gone. Or a guy like Gus Forsling, who got squeezed out of Carolina with due to too many guys on the back end, just a numbers crunch. And now we're looking at something that could wind up being the best waiver claim in the history of the National Hockey League by the time it's all said and done with him. So, like I said, I think huge credit goes to Bill Zito and his group for finding players like this. Sam is one of those guys who's benefited from the change of scenery coming down here, and just looking at his body of work, we're just loving what we're seeing out of him down here in South Florida. And I know he's one guy that you'd look to potentially have a big game tomorrow night.
Doug, we've already broken one Vancouver rule by talking about the lack of a practice facility. You're not supposed to bring up Gustav Forsling.
Yes.
Because he was drafted by the Vancouver Canucks. So just to let you know, next time you're on a Vancouver station, stay away from the Gustav Forsling conversation. How long have you been doing this job?
Oh, this is my 10th season down here. I guess we can call that the Where Are They Now segment mentioning Gus Forsling.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Yeah, it's a Vancouver Canucks Where Are They Now? But he's down here in South Florida doing big things.
And Gadjevich too.
Yes, yep, there are a couple of them. But this is my 10th season down here in South Florida, my 17th in pro hockey, but 10th here in the National Hockey League, 10th with the Panthers. And to see the growth that we've had, the sport down here has been really special over time. Going through these last few seasons and the way that things have been built up here on the ice, that has been infectious throughout the community. You see the people wearing the gear. You hear random, small talk conversations about hockey when you're out and about. You see the car flags, the car decals all over the place. People talking Florida Panthers and the building. We have 19,000 in there every single night during the regular season. It's been slammed in the playoffs. The watch parties have been great when the team's been on the road. To see the buzz grow and to see, more kids playing youth hockey. The youth hockey scene's bigger down here now than it's ever been. And, like I said, I mentioned it right off the top when we were talking about the practice rink, but the work of the Viola family and ownership over this last decade plus is where it all starts. And then it goes to, Bill Zito and the group that he's been able to build on the ice. And of course, bringing in Paul Maurice and the work of the players. Obviously you can't win without the work that the players are doing. So it's been a special thing. And like I said, exciting that over these last 10 years that I've been here, I've been able to see so much growth and to see this buzz grow down here.
Yeah, I'm just going to ask you how the franchise's story has changed in the time you've been there. You answered that so well. Doug, this has been great. Thanks so much. Have a good call tomorrow.
Thanks so much for having me. Happy to jump on anytime, guys, and we'll talk to you down the road.
Thanks, Doug.